Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful sermon from Bishop Foster. He raises this incredible question. What if the hardest things you've ever gone through, those personal stories, what if they weren't actually for you? We're going to break down his whole message.
Right off the bat, Bishop Foster hits us with this. The testimony you have is not yours. I mean, just think about that for a second. Our most personal experiences, the struggles we've overcome, he's saying they don't really belong to us. So if they're not for us, what are they for?
To get to that bigger purpose, we have to start where he does. We got to understand what he even means by the word testify. For Bishop Foster, it all comes down to one simple, powerful idea: being an eyewitness.
At its core, testifying is just reporting. It's telling people what you have personally seen, what you have personally experienced. It's not about what you think or what you heard from someone else. It's about being there and sharing what you know is true because you lived it.
And he makes this really brilliant comparison to a court of law. You know, in a courtroom, an eyewitness gets up there and swears to tell the truth about what they saw. Well, in a spiritual sense, he says it's the exact same thing. You're just stating, as a matter of fact, what you have witnessed in your own life.
And here's the thing. He argues this isn't some rare, once-in-a-lifetime event. Not at all. In his view, the simple act of waking up in the morning is a testimony. Every single day that you get through, you've got new evidence, a new story to tell.
Okay, so if we're all eyewitnesses every single day, why is sharing that so important? What's the real point? What's the purpose of telling these stories?
Well, he boils it down to three main reasons. First, it's an act of gratitude, of praise. Second, and this is huge, it's a way to help someone else who's going through the exact same thing you did. And finally, the very act of speaking it out loud, it helps you keep overcoming it yourself.
He doesn't just pull this out of thin air. He anchors it right here in Scripture. This verse from Revelation totally reframes the idea of testimony. It's not just a story anymore. It's a weapon. It's a tool that helps you win against what he calls a spiritual adversary. And this is really the heart of it all. Your testimony, your story, isn't just about you. It's a lifeline. The story of how you made it through something might be the one and only thing that gives another person enough hope to hang on and get through their own fight.
So if it's a battle, that means there are two sides, right? Bishop Foster describes these two opposing forces. There's a source of power that wants you to speak your truth, and then there's an opposing force that is doing everything it can to keep you quiet.
He explains that the power to be a witness, the strength to actually testify, comes from a very specific source, and he introduces that source by asking this simple question.
And the answer is so simple, but it's incredibly profound. It's not a what, it's a who. The power to share your story doesn't come from some vague cosmic energy. It comes from a personal being, a somebody who gives you the strength you need.
And on the flip side, you have the opposition. He quotes this scripture to paint a pretty vivid picture of an adversary that's like a roaring lion, constantly on the hunt. And its goal? To devour, to silence you, to discourage you, and to stop that testimony from ever getting out.
And this threat, it's not just about today. Bishop Foster argues that the real mission of this adversary is to steal your future, to get you so distracted and so derailed that you never become the person you were meant to be.
So to pull all these ideas together, Bishop Foster does the very thing he's preaching about. He testifies. He puts his own life out there as the ultimate case study to show how these forces played out in his own journey.
And man, what a story it is. He talks about his reckless past, drinking, smoking, driving like a fool. He somehow survived multiple car crashes that should have killed him. He talks about feeling this undeniable spiritual pull at his own brother's funeral, but he ran from it for years, until finally, on Thanksgiving Day, he surrendered and accepted a new path.
And this is how he reframes his whole story. He looks back at his survival and he doesn't see luck. He believes he was being protected as an investment, that he was being kept safe for a purpose that he hadn't even grown into yet.
This part is so powerful. He admits that when he started, he felt totally unqualified, that he could barely even read scripture. But he trusted that if he was called to do the job, the ability to do it would be provided. As he puts it, God will qualify the call.
He wraps up his own testimony with this verse, and it's basically his mission statement now. The message itself has the power, and because of that, there's absolutely no reason to hide it or be ashamed of it. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a world just saturated with data, facts, and expert opinions, Bishop Foster makes this compelling case for the raw, undeniable power of the eyewitness. It really makes you wonder, what is it about one person's genuine story that gives it the power to connect with us,
to persuade us, and maybe even change us.